South Wales derby is one of the most fiercely competitive derbies in football.
The passion and the intenseness is something quite extraordinary.
First played in 1912, neither Cardiff nor Swansea have ever done the league double over their opponents.
There's no friendships when you cross that white line, none at all.
And there's no love lost between the fans either.
No, we've not been friends for a long time. They've always hated the fact that they can't emulate the size of Cardiff City as a city and as a club.
They're the capital city, but we've been running the football for a while now, so I think they should be a new capital.
Obviously, we were in the Premiership for 7 years and they couldn't even hold their place in the Premier League.
With fans returning, the League of 72 went to find out exactly why this game means so much to the people on both sides of the Cardiff-Swansea divide. This is Inside the South Wales Derby.
The roots of it go back to the Industrial Revolution, I would say, when cities were rivals in terms of wanting to be the economic powerhouses of the region.
Swansea was founded on copper, Cardiff was founded on coal.
Two competing cities, both wanting to be the number one in Wales, competing to be the biggest port or the biggest coal exporter or whatever. You had rivalry between valleys, between villages, and also obviously between these two big ports of South Wales. People would have felt great pride in their cities, I think, back then, as they still do now.
Cardiff is obviously the biggest city, and I think that tends to factor into the football side of it a little bit as well, because rightly or wrongly, Cardiff is seen as the city that gets the investment, gets the infrastructure, had the electrification of the railway line from London.
Swansea probably has a bit more of a Welsh-speaking kind of nature to it.
You reach Cardiff and it's another 40 miles to get to Swansea. It's kind of, when you first come here, it kind of feels a little bit like it's in the back of beyond. So yeah, they have to shout louder to be heard. Cardiff is the main city in Wales. It's the capital, and Swansea always kind of feel a little bit, I wouldn't say inferior, but they always want to prove that they're better than Cardiff.
A lot of it is coming from a place of like resentment and envy. You know, Cardiff City have been, as a city and as a club, have been the leaders in Wales, have been the example to set historically.
Chuck jealousy in there if you want to. It's a fact that, you know, people from Swansea believe that we, being the capital city, have all the funding, and if anything good's been brought to Wales, then it comes to the capital.
I think, you know, by Cardiff being the capital of Wales, they think that's the main thing for them, but for us, we just go out to prove it that we're number one team in Wales. Every season we got to do it.
I think all of those things perhaps play itself within the football to a degree, with a lot of, well, with a section of Swansea fans perhaps feeling that sort of their bigger city cousins, if you like, sort of tend to get the limelight, the publicity and the finance.
Swansea will use the ammunition of being the smaller club to go and try and win a game and try and put one over their big neighbours, because they think that everything goes to Cardiff, and so that's what Swansea do.
This is what makes the rivalry a bit more unique than that Merseyside derby, than even the Old Firm derby, if you like, that these are two different cities. So you have Swansea fans living 40 miles down the road in Swansea, you have Cardiff fans living here in Cardiff.
Growing up in Liverpool, we had the Liverpool-Everton derby, but this one is there's a lot more rivalry to it. As in Liverpool, we'll still live in the same city together. Where this one, you know, there's a lot of needle to it.
Like, certainly you don't tend to get the households that you would where you've got Everton and Liverpool fans sitting next to one another. That couldn't happen with the Cardiff-Swansea game, trust me.
They've got their place 40 miles away, we got ours, and they're probably just as grateful for that as well.
In almost a century of the two teams playing each other, the league double has never been done. And I think that just shows the intenseness of the rivalry, that if you lose the first game as Cardiff did last time, you dare not lose that second game.
Cardiff and Swansea have always been battling for so many years now for that title of being number one team in Wales.
I think the rivalry has always been there, but I think it was more, it had a similar level of passion maybe in the 50s and 60s. You could make it equatable to rugby, you know, you could probably sit alongside a rival fan.
It was more of a good-natured sort of competition between the two clubs. As the years drew on and we got into the 60s and the 70s, I think, you know, things became ratcheted up and the derby took on a new kind of intensity to it.
Back in the day with my old man, and used to go to it a lot. There was a lot of, he wouldn't let me go to a Swans Cardiff game when I was a kid because of what it was used to be like.
I do think to outsiders it comes as a bit of a shock. Now, with regards, Cardiff and Swansea clearly will never be as big clubs as Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Everton, Celtic, Rangers, but the passion and the intenseness and the fierceness of the rivalry is something quite extraordinary.
I like the colours blue and white, but I will never wear them in the ring. It's mad, I know, it's just a football game, but I couldn't wear a Cardiff colour. Black, white and gold, black and white. Swans colours always.
It's a fixture which captures the imagination of people in South Wales, people in Cardiff and Swansea, but I think also around the country, around the UK. And speaking as a Cardiff fan who gets caught up in the emotion of it myself, I think there are so many negative things associated with it, but actually lots and lots of positive things. It shows how passionate people here are about their clubs and their cities, and how brilliant that is for Cardiff and Swansea, that people care so much about their clubs and about the places they live.
It's literally everything. I don't even know why. It's mad. But we just like to get one up over each other. I don't even know why. It's just the way it is. Swans, it's just the South Wales derby, innit? It's Cardiff, Swansea and Cardiff. It's them versus us. It's mad.
It's a passionate rivalry. It means, you know, it means more to them than it does to us. Because again, they're trying to punch up. There's no better example of that than, you know, the past 10 years, for example. They will allude to, oh, like, you know, we got the most recent success. They've had 7 years in the Premiership consecutively, played lovely branded football. They've had all the ingredients to be a club that people would want to go and follow. But after a cup win, European football, and all of that success, they are still the second club in Wales.
Obviously, we were in the Premiership for 7 years, and they couldn't even hold their place in the Premier League, so maybe that's why they say that. All them years we were in a different league to them, and literally we saw fans to them. We're now back into the Championship and battling with them every season. But it won't be long, we'll be back up in the Premiership, and obviously this is, that them 7 years affected them, I think, more than us.
It's tough. It's tough to take because they play very good football, very passing side. But the wheels have fallen off a little bit for them now, and I'm quite, in a way, you're just happy them to be in the Championship with us, and we're playing them again.
Regardless of how successful Swansea may be, it doesn't change who we are as football clubs, and it hasn't changed the dynamic. We're not trying to emulate Swansea. It would be nice to have some success in the Premier League, but our time will come. They've had theirs, and again, the gates, people vote with their feet at the end of the day. Bigger stadium, bigger crowds, bigger city, bigger culture, bigger pull.
I don't think it'll ever die down. I don't think it'll ever die either. It's just one of them rivalries. I think that Swans fans and Cardiff fans, they just love it. And myself, I love it, and it's nothing better than just going, as I said, going to the boxing gym and getting one up on the coaches or the trainers and saying we've done you over.
And certainly Swansea fans, various managers and players down at Swansea have always spoken about how in the build-up to these games, they're told in no uncertain terms by the fans that they dare not lose that game.
Ramsey, Bellamy, off the post and in! What a strike from Craig Bellamy! And he might just have won the derby for Cardiff.
A new breed of sort of fans who I think are spoilt by the success of, they think that Cardiff and Swansea is all about Craig Bellamy, Aaron Ramsey, FA Cup final, Premier League for the Swans, winning the League Cup. It's not. You know, there are lots of us who actually have been in both the Vetch and the old Ninian Park, you know, with much, 3,000 fans for certain gates.
Bit sawdust, isn't it? The change rooms weren't fantastic, but it kind of mirrored the feelings of the supporters, who were the most important part, who are the most important part of any derby. Without these supporters, it's just an ordinary game, really. It's the journey up the M4, seeing the signs, people kind of giving you sign language, pulling outside the Vetch, and it was strange because like you had terraced houses either side of the little tunnel to go in.
Oh, it's amazing. When I was a youngster coming through and these games, the derbies being on the North Bank and the games when the goals went in, it was unbelievable. And just leading up to the game, the build-up around the area, around the pitch, just around the ground before it, the atmosphere was so intense, it was unbelievable. Both were fantastic because most of the local boys, your Nathan Blakes, your Damon Searles and Carl Dales, people that understood it, they loved everything that was attached to that.
We were greeted on probably every bridge. Going into the city itself and getting towards Ninian Park was, it was unbelievable. The fans were showing their anger towards you, and it was pretty intimidating. But you don't get that these days.
There's nothing better than a derby day. It's one of those things that the whole week, the whole fan base, everyone wants to be part of that derby day. It's a special occasion.
Being in a change room with people that you swore to work hard for, and they've done the same for you. It's that building up to the derby. It's not just the 90 minutes. In my time, the crowds weren't so big. We maybe weren't in the better place. But two clubs were very, very close to their supporters.
To Britain again. Here's Bassoni with a decent cross.
Feeling of the highs and lows, in football, and especially in a derby game, you think, oh, that's it, the ascendancy's on with them, so they're going to go on now and get the winner. But then for us to bounce back and get the winner, if you could write the script, it's like, let them have 2 goals back or we'll get the winner. Can't beat that, It's what a feeling,
Yeah, it was class. It was brilliant. It was lovely, and the celebration after it was good as well.
Yeah, I was there for that. Yeah, and they're going to be over the moon with that, and they were, whatever makes them feel good, whatever makes them think they're on a par, or a level pegging. Happy days for you.
Matthews with a long throw. Chance for Chopra to win it. He has. Could there be a more dramatic finish?
I think it was the first time I saw us get one over on him as well. Being 1-0 down, coming back to 1-1, I think it was Adam Matthews headed the ball down into the box, and Chopra picked it up, and every Swansea player was rushing up the box. He just had all the space in the world and all the time, and when that ball smashed the back of the net, just limbs everywhere. And I remember distinctively turning to, after celebrating and getting everything out, I turned to hug my dad, and there was just a stranger there. And then I was looking around for my dad, and he was 6 rows behind me. I jumped down. Like 6 rows. Some lucky guy got a hug off me anyway. You got to enjoy those moments because they're rare, aren't they? Last minute winner against your local rival.
Yeah, I don't wanna reminisce on that one, to be honest. But we leave him have that, innit?
You can only get into the games these days by having a ticket that is given to you on an official bus that has to travel down in convoy as part of this bubble match experience, which just doesn't exist with other games.
You are herded into the stadium car park. You get on your coach. The second you're on your coach, you are being escorted by police blue lights everywhere, and you are straight down the M4. And it's like you're going off to battle. It's not an exaggeration. I remember the first time I went to my first South Wales derby, and literally every overpass on the M4 was Cardiff fans draping flags. It's almost like you're going off to frontline battle. It was something, I don't know how many other football fans on their derby day can experience the same thing, especially those that are living in the same city. But yeah, it's a surreal feeling, it definitely, like, it rouses you. You feel it beating in your chest. It's great. It's absolutely great.
And on he will go, and he will finish in sumptuous style.
It was all just different last year with no fans in. It was just bland.
Yeah, I watched it on television, and it was just such a bizarre season anyway, not being able to come down and watch the team play, and not having an entire ground empty for such a renowned, famous fixture took away so much from it, I think, as well.
It's more like a training game in that sort of, well, it's not an atmosphere, is it?
Yeah, it's just so mad. It felt weird, you know, like when they scored a goal and they celebrating, but it's celebrating to no one.
I think we felt a little bit robbed on the away game last year to get the win. That was the first derby since I've been here that we won. It would have been super special to have the fans there.
Even though we got the win, it sort of depletes the enjoyment of it. I mean, when you can hear the players celebrating on the pitch, it's just, it's flat, isn't it?
It's not the same. It's nowhere near the same, and the football's nothing without fans. They make it special.
Sunday will be massive for us, to get back in the ground, supporting the boys, and hopefully get that 3 points and a win, and a massive win, and see it live. There's no better feeling.
I can't stress to them how much importance the game has. And from a personal point of view, my family are all Bluebirds, and my connection with the football club is massive.
This game can really kickstart our season. We know that the pressure that game brings, if we can go out there and bring back 3 points from a game the size of Swansea Cardiff, especially being away from home first game, I hope that can really kickstart the season for the boys.
I do love the derbies, and each and every one. I fully understand it's a huge game, and everybody was at pains telling me, but because we played behind closed doors, that diluted it somewhat. I know what it's going to be like on Sunday. I'm fully expecting a rip-roaring game.
Look, I'm captain of the football club, and for the squad we have here this year, there's a fairly young team. A few lads that might not have been involved in a derby game, so down to myself, the likes of Flinty, Marlon, Rousey, people who've been here for a fair while and understand what's riding on the game. It's down to us to filter that down to the younger boys and let them know that, look, this game, it means everything to the fans. We're fully aware of that.
Look, we're in a poor run of form. We don't tiptoe around that, and that is just the case. Personally, every game is important to me, but derby games are special, and they're special more so to the fans. Managers, coaches, players come and go, but the fans are here forever, and you can't change a club as a football fan. So I understand for them, it's vital that we play well and we get a result.
And it's important that we ensure that this club represents these people in the right manner, and that's the league position, and that's what you do on that pitch. The minimum is sweat and blood, and then everything else is a bonus.
Regardless of how you're doing in the league, if you're flying or you're struggling, to win the Welsh derby, it means everything to me. It means everything to these boys at this football club, and everything to the fans. So we're going to go out there Sunday and give it our all.
It's no hiding place, is it? It's a derby, it's Sunday. The eyes, not just Wales, will be on this game. That's fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah, I think you watch most derby games, wherever it is, in England, abroad, Scotland. Been fortunate to play in a few myself. I think it's a lot of the time it can take over. You get really sucked into the atmosphere, the intensity, the emotion of it all. And sometimes they can be spectacular to watch because it just goes crazy. And sometimes it can be really cagey and really difficult.
It feels, you know there's a different game coming up at the weekend than there usually is. But to us, it is just a game of football at the end of the day, and we have to try and take that emotion out of it. Obviously, there will be that added spice, and you can feel it from people around the club and fans and stuff like that.
I think whenever new players sign, new players come to the club, I think they get an idea of it straight away, to be honest. Just being in and around the city, you know how much it means to the fans and the people that live here.
A couple of them have said it's the biggest derby they've played in. The chef's been telling me how many minutes there are till the game for the last month.
It would be the fans that would drum it into me. When you're out and about and you meet people and you make friends here, it's about them. And I think these games are about the fans, and the fans can make a difference.
I think the behaviour of people around it, in terms of supporters, what the guys encounter on a day-to-day basis, whether they're going to the shops, dropping their kids to school, I think all that changes. So you can try and protect people from it and pretend it's not happening, but it's pointless because they're gonna feel it. I think we have a brilliant blend of experience, guys who have played in it a few times, who have lived it, and we have some I think some young guys who are going into it with a fearlessness and no scar tissue, no damage from any previous games or big games like this, who will go into it, I think, to enjoy it and to really thrive on the occasion.
It's all about passion, you know what I mean? Watch the boys train this week. We're all up for it, all the supporters up for it. It's a big, massive game for us.
Personally, I get into a kind of a dark mood and don't look forward to it at all, and kind of can't talk to anybody or think about the match. Go down here, resent being here, and then go home either feeling lost because we've lost or ecstatic because we've won.
If you look back at the last 9 fixtures between the clubs, Swansea have won 4, Cardiff have won 4, there's been 1 draw, which just shows the tightness of this rivalry.
These sorts of games, even when we're on a good run of form, they're not the sort of game I look forward to because it doesn't usually go in our favour. Mick's got the result on the last one out, so, fingers crossed.
Excited, I'm really excited for the game. I honestly can't wait for it. But I'm getting the nervous jitters, same as everybody else, and I just hope they do it on Sunday.
It means so much, it's more than, as I say, it's more than 3 points for us. It's about personal rivalry, about us being #1 team in Wales and us showing it.
with Ethan Laird. He normally takes some catching. Morrison has at least slowed him down. Here's Patterson. He's gone for the chip. That is 3. It gets better and better for Swansea City. That's it. It is Swansea City's day in South Wales.